Hi all, in this video we'll try to further understand about Hasta nakshatra. In the previous video we understood Hasta nakshatra to an extent, its symbols basically. Based on symbols, how can we perceive the Hasta nakshatra energy? So Hasta nakshatra people are basically they are creative, they are very good with their hands and they are good in palmistry. And one symbol that we discussed, one of the symbols is clenched fist, means it's a closed fist. So this kind of closed fist is representing the determination, the ambition of doing different things, and also inability to let go of the things. So they don't want to let go of the things. It also represents greed. So they are good in trickery, deceit and manipulation involving the use of this kind of secrecy and determination. So that involves secrecy and determination, because it's a closed fist, you're closing something means you're hiding something. So that is showing a kind of secrecy. At the same time it is showing determination. So it involves both the energies, secrecy and determination. So trickery, deceit and manipulation involving secrecy and determination is the basic and fundamental idea of Hasta energy, and it represents greed, ambition and inability to let go of the things. So in its positive aspect it represents strength also, which is derived through unity and harmonious working of parts. So in a positive sense you can also say it is representing strength. You can always see the symbol of closed fist is a symbolism of strength. It's closely associated with cooperation in order to achieve the intended goal. So the cooperation that Hasta nakshatra people show, you don't misunderstand that cooperation as something like friendship, okay, because they are good in cooperation without friendship. It's just like in the modern times you just see some some handshaking, right? So they are not very good friends, especially the corporates. They come and they just shake hand, right? It doesn't mean that both of them are very good friends. It's just they are ready to cooperate with each other even though there is no friendship, just to achieve a goal, right? So this kind of this shaking hands is the most commonly used thing. It's the most commonly used act for bonding in the modern times. That is not at all friendship. It's a kind of cooperation without friendship. So that is the main symbolism. So obsession, it's a kind of obsession with cooperation without trust, obsession with cooperation without friendship. That is the symbolism. Another symbolism we understood is potter's wheel. So potter's wheel represents the people are very good with making pots, of course, as making handicrafts, you can, as a whole you can say. So they are good in making handicrafts, this Hasta energy people. So Hasta is, it is also, see, while making the pots, the potter is very much concentrated on making those things, right? So making the handicrafts, and even he doesn't waste single second of time. So Hasta nakshatra people are very much, they like punctuality, you know, they like to be very punctual. They are very good, means they just don't want to waste any single amount of time. They just want to manifest, they just want to make something out of each and every second of their life. So it's a kind of obsession with timekeeping, punctuality, and you can also observe there's a repetition of tasks. That is a Virgo energy, pure Virgo energy, because Hasta nakshatra lies in the zodiac sign of Virgo. So Virgo people are very good at repetition of the things, whether it is cooking food or serving the food, or you know the household activities, right? A kind of obsession towards repetition of tasks. Even in the Kalapurush Kundali, Virgo represents the sixth sign. The sixth sign generally represents the daily routine. Daily routine involves a lot of the things, which involves some kind of repetition, right? Even the gym activities or all those things are representing the repetition of the things. So this is what we observed in our previous video. And the deity of this nakshatra is Savitur, right? Savitur is the deity, so it's one of the Adityas. So the moment I say it's one of the Adityas, you may think it is completely good, but Savitur has some kind of negative traits also, right? So it's a kind of, if you observe the Savitur translation, the first rays of the rising sun. So it is showing a kind of awakening energy, waking up. What is the use of the first rays of the rising sun? They are going to wake up the whole world, right? So it involves a kind of waking up energy. So this waking up energy, and also the Savitur is a nakshatra, which it's Savitur is making the Hasta nakshatra that can aid childbirth also. So the first rays of the rising sun represent the awakening potential of Hasta in all ancient cultures and civilizations also. So the first rays of sunrise were a signal for all people to begin their daily activities. That is where the daily routine is coming into the picture, because sixth natural sign is the daily routine representation. The first rays of sunrise were a signal for all people. It's for all the people. It's not only for single person. So to begin the daily activities. So its function being similar to an alarm clock. It's a timing, it's a punctuality. So you always talk about the punctuality, the creation, the trickery, the deceit, cooperation without friendship. All these activities come whenever you talk about Hasta nakshatra. So you can say Hasta has all to do with the activity, with the daily activities, and also a sense of alertness you can observe, because the moment you see it's morning, you get a kind of alert in your mind, right? So it's a wake up call. Hasta means a wake up call. So the whole thing is summed up in one area, that is wake up call, right? So Savitur, if you talk about Savitur, what is the nature of this particular deity Savitur? Savitur has a jovial, light-hearted type of personality. So he's always portrayed with a laughing gesture. Whenever you see Savitur picture in Google or wherever you try to see him, so he always has a laughing gesture. So he's a playful deity into all kinds of tricks, amusements and games. So this makes Hasta interested in all kinds of sports on all planes of existence. So on the earthly plane, where if you talk about the earthly plane, so Hasta relates to both mind games and physical sports also. So the mind games always involve some kind of tricks. So Savitur is supposed to be extremely skilled with his hands. That is one of the most important things you need to note down. That is, Savitur is extremely skilled with hands. So this makes Hasta directly associated with everything done with the hands. He is very skillful, this deity. So this is the main reasoning behind the naming of Hasta. It's very clear now, right? Savitur is the deity of this nakshatra, who is very much skillful with hands. He involves some kind of tricks also. He knows some kind of tricks also. So Savitur is also considered to be a trickster. Means he has lot of crafty trickery involved, right? Taking pleasure in lying and gambling and fraud also. So you may just get surprised, one of the Adityas having this kind of traits, but this is how Savitur is described even in Vedic culture. So gambling and fraud and enjoying and lying, so these qualities don't seem like the kind which one would associate with a solar deity. But the truth is that even the planet Sun has this kind of cunning, crafty side to its nature. So, which is more often than, you it's should not be overlooked by anybody. Means it should not be ignored. This kind of nature of Sun, even. So, in the ancient times, all kings were supposed to be well versed in the arts of lying, in the arts of deceit, fraud, gambling, robbery, also, because these things were required for a king. So Sun is always represented as a king. So the kings, this kind of fraudulent nature or robbery or lying and this kind of trickery nature is also there for a king. It should be there. In ancient times it was taught also for kings, right? So this side of Sun, this cunning side of Sun, is represented with this particular Savitur. Now, so Savitur is almost, it's mercurial in its approach. Mercury, right? The Virgo's lord. Hasta nakshatra is in, of course, Hasta nakshatra, planetary lord is Moon, but Hasta nakshatra is in Virgo. So Virgo's lord is Mercury. So you can always see this particular mercurial traits. So these are all mercurial traits, very playful, deceitful, taking pleasure in lying, trickery, very skillful with hands. That the Hasta nakshatra qualities are very much related to Mercury also, right? Of course, you cannot say Mercury is very much skillful with hands, but as Hasta nakshatra is involved here, but Mercury is very playful. He can lie, he is an entertainer, he can get the things done with all his trickery and all the stuff, right? So the Savitur can be seen as a deity who has this kind of energies of Sun and Mercury. Sun and Mercury, when Sun and Mercury involved, you can clearly say that forms Buddhaditya Yoga, right? So the Sun and Mercury conjunction in a sign or house, that generally makes Buddhaditya Yoga, but this Buddhaditya Yoga is very much prominent in the Kendra houses like 1, 4, 7, 10, or in the Trikona houses 5, 9, especially in the signs of Virgo or in the sign of Aries. They form a very good Buddhaditya Yoga, but this particular Hasta nakshatra nature itself, itself is having this kind of Buddhaditya Yoga nature. So they are very playful and by tricks they can, by lying or whatever, they can achieve the task done very easily, right? So they are very creative also, right? Now, if you observe the nature and functioning, the common words you can always observe whenever you talk about Hasta nakshatra as hand, handy, this kind of knack, harvesting, getting the things done, trickery, playful, simple smile, right? A simple and slight smile, all these things you can clearly observe, right? So it's the functioning of Hasta nakshatra is really required in modern times. If you have Hasta nakshatra energy in your horoscope, then it is very good, right? So Hasta follows means the nakshatra Uttara Falguni, after Uttara Falguni, right? So if you see the nakshatra, the second 9 nakshatra system, that is Magha, Purva Falguni, and then Uttara Falguni, and then you can see the Hasta nakshatra. So it's Uttara Falguni nakshatra as a family, it's a representation of family is established, kind of. So after establishment of a family, issues like continuity and sustenance, they come up into the picture, right? So there are little and big things to be done on a regular basis to keep the household going on. So Uttara Falguni just means we will talk about Uttara Falguni in some other video, but it just talks about family is established kind of energy. Okay, family is done, right? Well, because Magha represents is a kind of it's a kind of birth, right? If you take it as a creation energy, then by Pura Falguni, whatever feeding and everything is done, if you compare it with a kind of childbirth related energy, then in Uttara Falguni you can say the family is established kind of energy you can feel. And now in the Hasta nakshatra, the immediate thing is the household should be going on, the family should be going on, right? It should go on, so that whatever whatever birth of a child happened, that child will grow up very nicely. So Hasta relates to all the little activities which make civilized living possible. So you can clearly see it's no surprise that Hasta natives are the handyman of the zodiac. If you want to say anyone in the whole zodiac system, in the whole 27 nakshatra system, which nakshatra is very good with hands, that is undoubtedly that is Hasta nakshatra. All the energy of that particular skillful hands is present in Hasta nakshatra only. So Hasta nakshatra people also make excellent householders, obviously, because you can clearly see how they behave. They can achieve anything, uh, you know cooperation without friendship, and they are the achievers, right, of anything. So they are good with hands, so they are good with cooking, household activities and all the stuff, naturally. So even though they take their work very seriously, there is always some internal lightheartedness underneath, you can observe. So they are very good at carrying plain faces. The plain faces, they can clearly, with some plain faces and some stern exteriors, they can clearly represent. So even the comedians, if you see some comedians, so serious faces, the comedians can put some serious faces, but they can make you laugh. If Hasta nakshatra people are like that, without much expressions, with serious expressions also, they can make you laugh, right? So such a kind of, so even the comedians which use this nakshatra's energy bring out the humor through this kind of straight serious facial expressions. So when Hasta rises in your ascendant, let us say your ascendant is in the Hasta nakshatra, okay, so it produces highly flexible and supple bodies capable of handling a variety of manual jobs. So it's Hasta nakshatra people have some type of acrobatic skills also, so they can go for Olympics, definitely, means if they try, because they have flexible bodies. They have small eyes and roundish faces generally. It's a general trend, right? Because this roundish face, the concept is coming because the Hasta nakshatra lord is moon. So that energy, moon's energy, is also present here. So Hasta nakshatra people are, by default, they are mischievous. They have mischievous smiles and like to squint a lot. So they love to laugh and play role of joker also sometimes. They love to play the role of joker. So even you can find, if somebody is in a group, you can clearly find a small little joker kind of character you can find, right? So that is Hasta nakshatra energy. So they have quick sharp minds which constantly process whatever they observe. So they like to think along practical lines, basically, because Mercury, right, is very logical in nature. So practical lines, they think in practical lines, what can be possible in the on the material plane, on the earthly plane, right? So they have a tendency to look down upon romantically also. So there is a world of classification, order and arrangement. They are very good at household activities because of this order and arrangement kind of stuff. Hasta natives have a tendency for overwork arising from an inability to sit still. So they cannot sit still, they don't want to be ideal, they just want to do something always, right? There is a mercurial energy, even the savitur, the waking up energy, they have the waking up energy, they have this ambitions, they are ambitious, they are skillful. Then why they sit ideal? Just imagine, they don't sit ideal. So they can get obsessive about keeping themselves busy, a trait which makes them, invent unnecessary tasks or complicate relatively simple tasks also. Some tasks are very simple, but they want to do more and more work. So when your subconscious is teaching you to do more and more work, then even you may not find a simple solution. You don't want to find a simple solution, means your subconscious is telling you somewhere to repeat the things, to take more time to complete the thing. Then you don't want to find, you may not want to find a simple solution, but even if you find a simple solution, you will try to complicate it, you will try to get most out of it, you try to get something more out of it. So that is where you complicate the simple things also, means the Hasta nakshatra people. But they are of course skillful. If they just want to finish it, yes, they can finish it, they are very good in that also, they are skillful. But the subconscious is something like the Hasta nakshatra energy is something like it wants to repeat the things, it wants to explore, and then uh, it doesn't want to conclude, right? Very easily they want to do something more. So no other nakshatra comes to Hasta nakshatra when it comes to an eye for detailing also. This is one skill, they are skillful basically. They work at things painstakingly and expect others also to do the same. They take unnecessary pain in achieving some of the tasks because they want them to be busy all the time. So they can be extremely critical when their high standards are not met. They expect high standards also. So if the other person is not meeting the standards, they may get disappointed, and they are extremely critical also. So Hasta usually gives some sort of tension with progeny if related to the fifth house in any way. So, but Savitur can aid childbirth, but so if your Hasta energy personality, like your moon is in Hasta or your ascendant is in Hasta, then it is good for childbirth or whatever. But if your fifth house is in Hasta nakshatra, is falling in Hasta nakshatra, especially if a malefic planet is in your Hasta nakshatra and that Virgo becomes your fifth house, then you may find some problems related to progeny also. So in the universal scheme of things, if you observe, Hasta relates to a Shakti called as, it's a Hasta Sthapanya Agamana Shakti. Hasta Sthapanya Agama Shakti or Agamana Shakti. So what is that power? It's a kind of the power to put one's object of desire in one's hands. So they are the achievers. It's just showing that they can achieve the things, right? It's a kind of achievement. It's showing it's a skillful and achievers energy. Skillful energy plus achievers energy is actually Hasta Sthapanya Agama Shakti. With the hands they are very good. That is also noted down here. So the whole symbolism has attainment of the objective and uh, and then make others to do work, right? A friendship without a cooperation without friendship energy, you can see. So the symbolism here makes it clear beyond words that Hasta promises immediate acquirement of one's object of desire through one's skill. Something like they are very good mediators also here. The Hasta Sthapanya Agama Shakti is showing that. So they are not only the achievers of their own desires, they can be achievers of others' desires also, with the help of some other. This kind of communication, you just imagine the symbolism, the handshaking symbolism in the modern times. So they try to achieve the task, right? So it's some other, let us say, A's desire. If they want to fulfill the A's desire, then they can get the help of B and C and get it done. That's very good. So Hasta is a passive nakshatra. This comes as a surprise, but this can be understood in terms of its planetary ruler, that is moon. So basically that's why it is passive nakshatra. The moon's traits are exhibited here. So moon has a strong passive and receptive side to its nature, definitely, which is more on display in Hasta rather than moon's others nakshatra. So this kind of moon's behavior, that is the strong passive nature and receptive nature also, right? So other moon's nakshatras are like Rohini and Shravana nakshatra. So Hasta's passivity can be seen through one simple character. Let's try to understand this particular character. A timid character, a shy pottery maker. He's timid. He just spends all his time making pottery items without any desire for extraordinary gains. He gets paid much less than he deserves by another Hasta person, another cheating businessman, you can say, right? He is also a Hasta nakshatra guy. So he never raises a voice against the injustice and accepts his fate of poverty and hard work just lying down. So you can assume two characters here. One is a cheating businessman who is paying less to the potter, right? So potter is also of Hasta nakshatra. So here in one particular picture, you can just imagine the two Hasta nakshatra traits here. One is taking less money even though he is very overskilled, right? So two personalities are shown here. A cheating businessman giving less money for the potter, and the potter is also of Hasta nakshatra, and he is taking less money for his work. He cannot resist it also. It's a kind of showing Hasta nakshatra energy here, but it belongs to the Vaishya caste, the merchant caste here is coming into the picture. This comes as no surprise because Hasta is predominantly associated with production, buying and selling of goods. That's a Virgo energy, pure Virgo energy. Hasta is in the core of Virgo energy. It can be said that Hasta has the most business-like approach to life in comparison with all other nakshatras. So in the present day and age where business and commerce rules everything else, Hasta has a dominant role. However, you can clearly understand because of this corruption, deceit and greed from the backbone of most business in today's world, only the negative side of Hasta is on display here. All of the big multinational corporations and ruling business people are, you can just understand there's a clear Hasta nakshatra energy involved there, right, with their skills and everything. I just showed this particular cheating businessman who is paying less to a potter who is a very skillful man with his hands, right, but he is taking less money but he is keeping quiet. So that is a positive side of Hasta nakshatra, and this cheating businessman is a negative side of Hasta nakshatra. So this two sides of Hasta nakshatra you can always observe. Maybe this potter, one day he will also become a cheating businessman, right? Maybe in its positive side, or in the initial days the person is only skillful with his hands and he is only aiming at gaining less money and all the stuff, but after some days the person will also become a very big businessman, and he will also have the skills and trickery, all the stuff to gain more money and giving less money to his workers, but still getting the things done. So that is the energy of Hasta nakshatra, you can understand. Here very mainly we are talking about the business and business skills, skills with hands, all this stuff we are talking about. Just feel the energy, how I'm just repeating some of the things just to make you understand the whole energy of Hasta nakshatra. So it is a male nakshatra. So this classification is directly derived from its ruling deity, who is Savitur, is the ruling deity, is one of the Adityas. Sun is generally male in its fundamental form. So gender of this particular Hasta nakshatra is male. So hands are the body parts that are always represented by this particular Hasta nakshatra. If you go to Ayurvedic literature, then you can clearly understand it's a Vata nakshatra. Vata is related to air. It's a airy nakshatra. So this is very clear from the fact that of all of this nakshatra lies in predominantly in a Vata sign, that is Virgo. Virgo is a Vata sign, right? So it's a Vata sign, and of course it's Vata is really related to Ayurvedic, right? It's purely related to Ayurvedic stuff that you need to understand. Of course, Virgo is a dual sign and all those things are present, okay, but it is a Vata sign. Virgo is a Vata sign in Ayurvedic culture. So Virgo is a Vata sign, but generally if you see the classification, Virgo is an earthly sign. In what context it is earthly sign? See, if you understand the signs, Aries is a fiery sign, and Taurus is an earthy sign, and Gemini is airy sign, and then Cancer is water sign. So this particular pattern repeats. Again, Leo is a fiery sign and Virgo is earthy sign, and then Libra is airy sign and Scorpio is a watery, deep watery sign, and Sagittarius is fiery sign, Capricorn is a pure earthly sign, it's completely practical, and then Aquarius is airy sign and Pisces is a watery sign. But in Ayurveda, the Ayurveda treatment is something like it's related to your bodily constitution. So in that way it is a Vata. In that Vata is related to airy nature of the body. That is different. So don't confuse that, this Vata nature of your, Hasta nakshatra energy is different, and this earthly sign nature. Earthly sign nature means what? The people are very practical. Earthly sign energy represents a more practical energy, right? If you see the watery sign energy, that's more emotional, like Cancer is very emotional, Scorpio is very emotional, Pisces is very emotional, right? So watery signs represent is a kind of emotional personalities, whereas the earthly sign personalities are very practical. You see Capricorn or Virgo or the Taurus, these are all very practical in nature, right? So what is adding to your personality? So that is different, and this particular, the Ayurvedic constitution that we are trying to discuss here, that is completely different. Now if you observe different padas of Hasta nakshatra, the first pada, of course, it varies from 10 degrees of Virgo to 13.20 degrees of Virgo, and if you see where it is in the Navamsha, if you have a planet in Hasta nakshatra first pada in your D1 chart, then automatically it will go to Aries sign in the D9 chart. In the D9 chart you can see, so if you have a planet like Jupiter is in Hasta nakshatra first pada in your D1 chart, means in D1 chart, that is your Rashi chart or your fundamental birth chart, if Jupiter is in Virgo and that too in the Hasta nakshatra first pada, then automatically in the Navamsha, that is in D9 chart, this particular Jupiter is going to be in the Aries sign, in the sign of Aries. So what happens, what is the general characteristics of Hasta nakshatra first pada? So this pada gives abundant energy and makes one an expert at underhanded activities. So underhanded activities, they are very good. Mathematical, military and surgical skills are enhanced here. They are very skilled at these qualities, whatever the military activities, the surgical activities, mathematical activities, right? So a well placed Mars or Sun are strongest in this pada because it is falling in the Aries Navamsha. In the Navamsha chart, Hasta nakshatra first pada, planet always falls in Aries sign. So here obviously you can see Mars and Sun are very good in Hasta nakshatra first pada. So if you see the second pada, that varies from 13.20 degrees of Virgo to 16.40 degrees of Virgo. So obviously that goes to the next Navamsha, that is Taurus Navamsha. And the Navamsha chart means in your birth chart, if you have a planet in Hasta nakshatra second pada, that obviously goes to the sign of Taurus, in your D9 chart. So the emphasis in this particular Hasta nakshatra second pada is on down to earth practically. So earthly sign has this capability. Earthly sign people are generally, they are down to earth. Even though they are very great, they are down to earth also. This particular nature you can clearly see in Hasta nakshatra second pada, because the second pada is leading to the Taurus Navamsha, which is another earthly sign obviously, and here Virgo is also earthly sign, so too much of earthly sign energy is present. So Hasta nakshatra second pada people are more down to earth compared to other padas, you can say. So planets here seek material arrangement and perfection. They are perfectionists, as is a perfectionism is their fundamental thing. Without perfection they cannot move. Hasta nakshatra second pada people are too much perfectionists. All the skills, the handy skills that they are showing, they want to achieve the perfectionism. The perfectionism is the main theme of Hasta nakshatra second pada. You cannot bear them with their perfectionism. Even if you go deeper and deeper and deeper and analyze the thing, and if you are arranging them for you, but still they will try to look into it more deeper and deeper, and they don't get satisfied with the high level details. They want more and more low level details also. This is Hasta nakshatra second pada. So honesty and morality are more developed here in comparison to other padas also, because Hasta nakshatra second pada is more about perfectionism. So they don't entertain this kind of any kind of dishonesty and dismorality or whatever, right? Because Hasta nakshatra general trending is the trickery and all the stuff that is there, but Hasta nakshatra second pada is a bit you feel like, is it really Hasta nakshatra or not? Because they are very much perfectionists and they want to go deep, they want to dig deeper. Honesty is more here, because when you are really want to go to the roots and analyze the things, the honesty comes into the picture. So honesty and morality are very well developed in Hasta nakshatra second pada compared to other padas. So this pada supports artistic activities also, because they like, their heart likes this kind of artistic activities, because that needs a lot of perfection, also needs a lot of morality and honesty in artistic activities. Otherwise you cannot get excel in arts basically, right? So a well placed Mercury, Venus and Saturn give good results here in Hasta nakshatra second pada, because in the second, that is falling in the Taurus Navamsha. So generally in the Taurus Navamsha you can clearly see Venus, Saturn, Mercury, these do something good there. So basically in Hasta nakshatra second pada, Mercury, Venus and Saturn give very good results, and even Saturn is very good here because in Hasta nakshatra second pada, because it needs perfectionism, right? And what is Saturn? Saturn is discipline, Saturn is patience, Saturn is karma karaka, he always wants to do some work. So just imagine the beauty of Saturn in Hasta nakshatra second pada, excellent, right? It's just in the next level. And even Mercury is here. Mercury is skillful in nature, and that skill is aided for this particular whatever the perfectionism and the morality, for all this perfectionism, mainly the perfectionism. Mercury aids for that perfectionism here in Hasta nakshatra second pada. So Mercury, Venus and Saturn do very good job here in Hasta nakshatra second pada. You see Hasta nakshatra third pada, it varies from 16.40 degrees to 20 degrees of Virgo, and in the Navamsha it will go to the Gemini sign. So whenever you find a planet in Hasta nakshatra third pada, automatically in the Navamsha chart it will go to the Gemini sign. But this pada is mainly about merchant, trading, business. It's all about that, the business thinking, the trickery, all these things come in Hasta nakshatra third pada mainly. Even if you see uh, this particular here, emphasis is on career, mainly career. They are very much career oriented, Hasta nakshatra third pada people, right? So this is the most dexterous and clever amongst all the Hasta nakshatra padas. Whatever the skill, whatever the trickery, trickery in achieving things, that playfulness, that kind of cunningness, those things we talked about Hasta nakshatra, those are all coming in Hasta nakshatra third pada. This is the most clever pada of all the Hasta nakshatra padas. So here you don't see any, you should not talk about morality, all these things. They are the businessmen. They are the business. They have extraordinary business skills. Hasta nakshatra third pada people. So well placed Mercury here gives extraordinary perception and intelligence. And their intelligence is also next level, Hasta nakshatra third pada. And definitely if Mercury is in Hasta nakshatra third pada, just imagine the beauty. They are going to rule the world with their business skills. Whatever you're seeing right in the modern days, the kind of e-commerce applications or their way of approaching the people and then getting the things done and gaining more and more profit, and they are becoming the multi-millionaires and billionaires of this whole world. That energy you can see in Hasta nakshatra third pada. If Mercury is in Hasta nakshatra third pada, that is just excellent, more than excellent, you can say. Now we'll come to the Hasta nakshatra fourth pada. It varies from 20 degrees of Virgo to 23.20 degrees of Virgo, and obviously its Navamsha is in Cancer. So whenever you find a planet in Hasta nakshatra fourth pada in your birth chart or D1 chart, you can say, in the D9 chart or Navamsha chart, it will go to the Cancer sign. The focus here is on family life, mainly family life and communal coexistence. This pada promises material security, but at the same time it promotes suspicion towards anything foreign. So they like some foreign related things also. They are good in that, but at the same time they want material security. They think about the future. They think about means what they will be after 10 years or after 15 years, how their life will be. This kind of thinking is more here. They need material security. As a whole, you can just say Hasta nakshatra fourth pada are really, they always want material security. That is the one thing you can say, right? They think about their own family and household activities. They want their own family thing and the material security. So the best and worst of Hasta manifests through this pada. You can say Hasta nakshatra fourth pada is something like, the best thing here is they promotes any kind of things which are really gaining for family, right? For family security, for material security, they look forward, right? So if let us say you have someone in your family, Hasta nakshatra fourth pada, and he is taking care of your family, then just you can have a very beautiful, you can just depend upon that particular personality, because somewhere he is going to think about you, because he needs the family security, he needs the material security, right? So that is one thing you can clearly see. The family life is very much important for them. So that is the one thing. And at the same time, it's too much of having too much of attachment only with the family. That is showing a kind of selfishness also. They don't entertain other people, right? They don't entertain other family guys or other family persons, right? They are not sacrificing in nature. They are sacrificing in nature only to their family. They think about the material security of their own family, their own people. If they come to know that you do not belong to them, you do not belong, even though you are in the family, but if they come to know that you do not belong to uh, their family, then they will not take care of you. They will just simply ignore you. That is the negative trait here, right? But just imagine if you are in good terms with Hasta nakshatra 4th pada person, and that Hasta nakshatra 4th pada person is your father. That's good enough. He's going to take care of you throughout your life. So that is one thing you can clearly say. This is the general behavior of Hasta nakshatra 4th pada, right? So clearly you can understand Hasta nakshatra 4th pada, they give more preference to their own people. They do not give much preference, or they completely ignore if you do not belong to their family, if you do not belong to their own member. Let us say your mother is Hasta nakshatra 4th pada, let us say, and you are very good with her, and you do lot of good things for her, and you are showing lot of love, you are with her, then you're good. She is going to give 100% for you. But once you are not attached to your mother, or you're doing something against your mother, then she may completely ignore you, because she would think you no longer belong to her family. So anything is out of her own family, then she may not give much. Okay, but once she knows that you belong to her only, you belong to, you are very much attached to her, then she will give 100%. So Hasta nakshatra 4th pada is only related to the family life, the communal coexistence, selfishness towards the family, material security towards the family security. That is the main thing. So only a well placed Jupiter gives strong results here, especially regards to having good progeny, good children, good childbirth. So only Jupiter is good in Hasta nakshatra 4th pada. Remaining planets are not so good. Basically, Jupiter aids for childbirth also here, if Jupiter is present in Hasta nakshatra 4th pada. These are all the practical observations. If you see Hasta nakshatra 4th pada, then generally in the Navamsha means what? Navamsha is your the final result. It is the exact result. It is the final result, right? So even though whatever may be the seed is your D1 chart, and D9 chart is your final fruit, right? So that's why the analysis, when you are talking about the padas, the analysis would be about always about this particular with respect to Navamsha also, right? So Hasta nakshatra first pada, it will go to the Aries Navamsha, and there you can clearly understand Sun and Mars are very good. So in Sun and Mars are in Hasta nakshatra first pada, that's it, gives very good results. All the traits that we talked about Hasta nakshatra first pada, all of them are going to be manifested finally. Hasta nakshatra second pada, Taurus Navamsha. So in the Taurus Navamsha, clearly you can understand Mercury, Venus and Saturn, they are very good. So obviously Hasta nakshatra second pada, in if you have Mercury, Venus or Saturn, that is going to manifest everything. Whatever the Hasta nakshatra second pada is, very much their perfectionist, honesty, morality, all the things that we talked, right? They will manifest. Hasta nakshatra third pada, then obviously it will go to the Gemini Navamsha. Then Mercury is very good here. If you have Mercury, Hasta nakshatra third pada is always about business skills and cunning nature and getting the things done, achieving the things, and very good mathematical skills, all the stuff. Trading and business, basically the logical thinking, right? Mathematics means it's just not the mathematics that you're studying in the books, right? Mathematics actually means the true logical things to get the things done. That is the pure mathematics. That is the essence of mathematics. It's not just a plus b whole square, right? So Hasta nakshatra fourth pada is we talked about it. It's mainly related to own family, communal coexistence, selfish about the family, selfish about material security, So Jupiter, only Jupiter does good here, and that is also aids for good progeny. Hasta nakshatra, fourth pada. So this is about different padas. We will talk about Hasta nakshatra more. So what professions are good and which places actually consists of Hasta nakshatra energy. What kind of orientation you have in the Hasta nakshatra, the auspicious activities, and we'll talk about the planetary ruler, that is of course moon, how moon is the planetary ruler of Hasta nakshatra, how it relates to it. Those things we will talk about, the sexual compatibility of Hasta nakshatra, right? These things in occult sciences, how this particular occult the Hasta nakshatra really matters. What kind of remedies you can follow when you have some malefic energy in Hasta nakshatra. These kind of things we will talk about in our next video. Next video. So this is about different pada analysis of Hasta nakshatra here. Thanks for watching this video.